Hello and welcome to another edition of the Paranormal Concept Show, exclusive to the PAUK Radio Network. I'm your host, Paul Rook, and as always, we are joined in the studio by Kerry Greenaway and Richard Kemmons. Both of them are absolutely stupendous, by the way. Just want to get that in.
As always.
As always.
As always, yes. Oh, dear.
Absolutely.
I love being stupendous. It makes me all glowy and happy.
It makes you all squidgy in the middle, doesn't it?
Oh dear, a bit like is it armadillo, isn't it? Crunchy on the outside, smooth in the middle.
Right. I'll have to take your word on that.
Do you not remember those Dime Bar adverts?
Dime bars are hard.
Yeah, but smooth in the middle. Like an armadillo, hence why they went with armadillo. I don't know.
Oh, your weird brain again. Your weird brain. Richard, how do we cope with him? I don't know.
1980s adverts, what can I say?
Yeah.
How have you both been anyway this week?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good?
Not too bad. Yeah, just pottering along.
You haven't been out on your travels or anything yet?
Not yet, no. I sort of missed a good weekend this weekend, really, but I just I just kicked back a bit, but I will start venturing out soon.
Yeah, I mean, you've got your nice new push bike, so you can put on your Lycra and out you go.
Yeah.
Richard in Lycra, everybody.
Yeah, me and my Lycra, yeah.
Well, our last week's show regarding the Warrens is going down a bit of a storm. A lot of very strong opinions out there about those two people is all I can say on that one. But to hear our opinion, you'll actually have to go and listen to the show, guys.
Absolutely, because I'm not telling anyone else that if you didn't watch the show, listen to the show, I'm not telling you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So should we get on with this week's show?
We should, and I think we should start with Badgergate because we mentioned that.
No, I knew you was going to drop that in straight away. No, we're going to introduce our guest first. This lady has been absolutely paramount in getting me into the actual paranormal herself. She is a phenomenal paranormal investigator. She has a degree in psychology, and she has very strong opinions regarding most subjects in the paranormal, but she is a phenomenal source of information. Please welcome to the show, Miss Kerry Ann Carter.
Yay! Thank you so much. I'm blushing. You're making my cheeks go all hot, Kerry. I like.
Oh, she's flirting already.
I like this. I'm staying, guys.
So, Kerry, let's start with the normal question that everybody asks. How did you get into the paranormal?
Oh, it's a journey. It is a journey. So I started off, I think a lot of people kind of come in the same kind of ways. They go through and experience like a bereavement or a kind of brush with death, and it kind of piques your curiosity. And that's what happened with me. But my first kind of avenue was spiritualism. And I started going to the spiritualist churches, and then I started sitting in circles with SNU mediums. And SNU mediums, Spiritual National Union, they do a lot of, I have to be very respectful because I was going to say parlor tricks, but it's not. Physical manifestations of spirit is how they present it. So a lot of what we use in technology these days, like spirit boxes, table tippings, Ouija boards, scrying, these all kind of got their underpinnings from and can be traced back to a facet of spiritualism, whether it's the birth of parapsychology or whether it was spiritualism like itself. So I went from spiritualism to the paranormal, and then here we are. I've been doing it for about 10 years now, I think. And then along the way, I picked up a psychology degree as well, just for the bants.
Just why not? Yeah, why not? Why not pick that up?
While I'm here, yeah, don't mind me. Yeah.
So let's talk first of all about your spiritualist journey, because you are a psychic medium.
I am, yes. So it's when I think about my teaching, so how I've developed my skill. I started off as being a natural kind of empath. I think that's how we kind of label it at first. I sat in circle for probably about 5-6 years. But I've been very fortunate to sit under different mediums, and each of them have very strong spiritualist links. So it's very disciplined. So my mediumship and my psychic, the kind of development in that, my teachings were very disciplined. So it helped me be able to develop the two and shift between them quite quickly and freely. I take it for granted now, to be honest with you, but I know it's not an easy thing to do for some. A lot of people don't feel like they have mediumship and psychic abilities. One will feel like they've got one over the other, but it's like a muscle. So that's what I kind of did, and then I really enjoyed, which is where me and Kerry G, how we love you, Kerry C and Kerry G, that's how we used to work together, was energy work. So Kerry Greenaway is a fantastic psychic medium, and works really intuitively with items and energy. So this can be energy from, crystals, but it also location based. So we used to have so much fun doing our little baseline sweeps, just having a walk around and figuring out where best to put trigger objects and stuff. And that is how I really developed my psychic ability as well, is because I was having fun with it, obviously not disrespecting it, but having fun with it and being able to be creative with it. Sadly, I don't use it as much as I did once upon a time, because I'm taking the theory and studying the psychology of things. I kind of have taken a little bit of a step back from the practicing or the investigation research stuff. So I'm putting a lot of theory really to the practice at the moment, but that's hopefully going to be changing in the next couple of months. I'm looking to get out a lot more and start actually applying some of my theories to real locations with hopefully real I was going to say real life ghosts. Oh, what a Harry Price moment. Let's take a pulse.
That's how it goes,
to real ghosts.
Do you find?
Oh, I'm sorry, Richard. You carry on.
Yeah. You're talking about you sort of done your psychology degree. Have you come into conflict now with your psychology degree and your sort of spiritualist beliefs, or do you manage to accommodate them both?
It's a conundrum. I'm going to be honest with you, Richard. It is a conundrum. I do have. It's really weird. Because I have realised that I have a practical brain, a logical brain, a reasoning brain, and rather than all being active at once, I switch between them. So if someone makes a joke with me while I'm in my literal brain stage, I will take it quite literally. But I think that's how I've managed to look at some of what we work with in terms of belief, and then coming away from that and looking at, why do we believe? What's the underpinnings? Is it biological? Is it environmental? And it's so, yeah, I think I'm able to kind of switch, but at the same time, I don't feel like the logic of it leaves me. So I can still look at I believe, but I can look at evidence and go, well, hold on, this XYZ, environmental factors and stuff like that. So I think it is hard sometimes, because I do miss, and I don't know whether Kerry is the same. I say Kerry because I investigated, most of my investigating life is with Kerry. I do miss the days where we could be quite ignorant. I'd be like, oh my God,
yeah.
it's ghosts.
Yeah.
Like I miss
I'm with you on that,
much.
yeah.
So you miss your most haunted days, do you?
I've said that though. I miss those days where it was fun. Now you look at it a lot more coldly and critically, which isn't a bad thing. But I think you have to go through that process. I think you do actually have to go through the process. Both myself and Kerry have sort of echoed each other on this one, where we came away from the investigating and got more into the research and the learning process and the psychology side of things and whatnot. And then you start going back into it, but you go back into it, you feel stronger when you go back into it. And this is we're sort of like on the precipice of embracing that, I suppose. But it won't be the same, because obviously we know so much more now.
Yeah. And also I feel it is because I feel like sometimes when we first used to go into an investigation, energy was high. We were buzzing. We was ready for whatever was going to be coming at us that day. And we found ourselves, when I tell you, like, the evidence that some of us got, like some of the evidence that were caught, some things left us like it split the team in terms of whether it was evidence or not. But the experiences that were attached to that evidence, I think if we may not have had that if we had, I feel like sometimes our knowledge can also create like a little bit of a barrier. And we had rose-colored like glasses, which were fantastic because then we enjoyed the experience. We were in it. We were immersed in it a lot more than what, I mean, for me, and than what I am now. Now I'm quite very stand-backy, and yeah, it's like, oh, I wish that would be so cool if it was. Sad it's not.
I'm sure it'll be fine when we start doing it again, Cal. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So I want to take you back to your first investigation, your very first one. Can you remember it?
Yeah, that was horrific. It was so bad. So I won't name names, but it was a new team, and I'd never been on a ghost hunt before. And I was sitting in circle, and I was doing my at the time my circle leader had started bringing the spirit box into session, and the spirit horn and things like that. And I'd had this discussion with this friend, and they were like, right, let's just get some people together and we'll just go out. And I was like, yeah, do it. And we did exactly that. And we went to the thing is, I don't want to I'm so bad. I'm a little bit scared of like dark. So there's a conundrum across the board, Richard.
Oh dear me.
Yeah, it is so bad. So anyway, so we go in and we're like, right, let's go. So we went to Hockley Woods. Now Hockley Woods is in Essex. It's a great location. The fact that it's very, very old. It has really like links back to, I think it was like King Henry times or something. It's just really old woodland.
Yeah.
And there's been
Hockley Woods, you mean?
Yeah.
That goes right back to the Ice Age as well.
It's fantastic. And there's been like a plane crash there from the army, like during the war, and then you had the women's prison that's now an immigration center, but they held Myra Hindley and stuff. So there's so much in there. We were like, right, we're gonna go, and then we set the scene. So as you go into Hockley Woods, it is so bad. It's the trees kind of go over the pathway, and creates a long like tunnel with no light coming through. So you literally feel like Bambi's mum walking in this tunnel. I'm like hiding between everyone now. There's a circle around me and I'm in the middle. Like, come on guys, we've got this. Going in, and I had my friend with me. She's amazing, my friend, but she's very like one of those, what's that doing, what are you doing there, what's going on over there, what comes over there, is this okay, can we do this? So my anxiety is like, oh, there's so much going on. Everyone's talking. So we go into the middle of this wood, and it's a massive clearing in the middle of this, and again I make reference back to Bambi's mum. It was like the full moon. I can remember it vividly. The light of the full moon just lit up that clearing, but the woodland that surrounded us was still like black. You couldn't see past the tree line. So when you think about biologically what's happening there, you're getting that flight or fight. Your heart rate's racing, your fingertips are coming, you're getting a bit chilling. You're like, oh my god, this is weird. And then he pulls out the spirit box. I've never really heard the spirit box through a speaker. And he turned it on. I was like, ah, what was that? And he's like, it's scanning. And there's a man's voice coming through. And whoever this man is claiming to be Crowley. And we're having this conversation, And I will say this person was a bit mean, because the one that was with my friend, he started following her around with the speaker, and it was scaring us. So now she's just circling me while he's following her around with the speaker. In the end, I was like, right, we're going back. Whoever's coming back, come back with me. Whoever's staying, stay here. But before we did this, he asked how many people was there. So first it said 6, and then it said 7. I was like, that's weird. Well, so it didn't make sense. But once we got taken back to the car, and then the others went off, 6 were in the car and 7 was left in the forest. So it was really strange. But that is my first ever paranormal experience.
Do love a wood in the middle of the night, don't we, guys?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, we do like the woods.
Although I've had an experience in Hockley Woods myself. It just felt like someone had reached into my stomach and twisted it.
Right, it
was really painful.
Yeah, it is an experience. But now, because I went to go there, I obviously got brave through my years, because I was like, I had an ex-boyfriend and he was into this as well. And but he hadn't really gone on the investigation, so I said, "Come on, let's go. We're just me and you. We'll go." Well, we had a little dog too, and we went into the woods. And I was really brave up until halfway through that tunnel. I went, "Do you know what?
On second thoughts,
I really fancy a cider. Do you fancy, because there's a pub just there?"
Yeah,
there is, yeah.
I really, something about here makes me think, cider. And it was lucky. It was lucky because as we were coming out and going back into the car, they'd actually come to close the gates. So if we hadn't left when we left, we would have been locked in that car park. And
yeah,
I will be honest with you, I would not be held accountable for my response with that. No, it's not okay. Oh yeah.
Excellent.
So they do now shut the gate now, whereas before, because it was doggers galore there, I'll be honest with you.
That's why you wanted to take the dog with you.
Don't mind me, guys. We're just doing those as you were.
We'll have to do Hockley again. We haven't done it for a while.
Yes,
I've never been to Hockley, yeah, and I would like to go, yeah, so.
We just have to park up somewhere else, yeah.
Oh, the last time we went, I remember you was there that night, Kel. We all pulled into the car park and the police followed us in.
Yeah.
I did a big raid on the dogging that was going on in the car park, and they were like, "What are you doing here?" And we were like, "We're just gonna go and paranormal investigate." And they were like, "Right, as you were, off you go."
The best part was this was the stage where we were wearing headlamps.
Oh yeah.
So we're walking around with head torches on our head, looking at the police. Having a serious conversation. It's so bad.
You can imagine it, guys listening. You can imagine us all piling out of the car, kitting up, because you're walking in the woods with our headlamps on, and these police are looking at us thinking, what are they doing?
14 of us. We had a massive team. It was huge. Oh my god.
Big. At one
I bet
point.
it was like saying at a police academy or something, wasn't it?
So bad. I do now understand why I'm single though. I do now. It just makes sense. Oh, no.
So Paul, has been gagging for you to relay the story of Badgergate. Now, do you remember that particular night?
The night I nearly died.
It wasn't the night you nearly died.
Vicious badger.
You did not see the jaws of death. Okay.
So relay the tale of Badgergate just for our ears.
It was again a woods. I don't know what's wrong with me, why I keep going to these woods with these people, but we decided to go to Screaming Boy Woods. Oh, right. So again, okay, so let's think about the biological responses of going inside of my body. It was not my fault. It was an innate reaction to what was happening around me. So there was about 10 of us. Again, we were a really big team and we were really proactive, actually. So we're always together. So we decided we was going to go Screaming Boy Woods. And then we had Alan with us, who had full camera, body prop camera with him as well. And we had big cameras, lots of people with equipment, lots of things going on. And we come to this opening, which had a whole tent pitched up in. Now, for some reason, Kerry Greenaway decided that we were going to ignore the tent that probably had a person in it, because we acknowledged someone in there. No. So now, Kerry, deep in, we had this connection. We had Spirit Box, K2. We had another piece of equipment going. We had some pendulum work going. We had 2 mediums all working. And what was so good about this was that everything that we were getting was being mimicked on other pieces of equipment. So we was having communication with this man, wasn't very nice. Kerry was doing some spiritual work. We was opening different planes. It was really it was really good, a really good session. But I'm standing with Danny, who's very tall and very slim, and I'm the opposite of that. So I'm standing with Danny, and out of nowhere, I hear this rustle noise, like rustle in the leaves, and I look over and I see the tent, and then I see this what looks to be like a little rabbit's tail. So our friend said to us, "Don't worry, guys, it's just a rabbit." And I was like, "Okay, that's good." And no, it wasn't. It was the biggest badger you've ever seen in your life. Literally wrapped my hands. Has anyone watched Alice in Wonderland with the Queen of Hearts?
Yeah.
She flicks the flamingo and tries to. That's what I did with Danny Day.
Poor Danny.
My arms went round him, what felt twice, and my nails. He's going, "Ah, your nails!" I'm going, "Ah, it's gonna kill me!" And it didn't kill me, but I nearly died. It looked me in the eyes, and it literally just got its claw and just run it across its neck. Oh my god, that was a night. And then everyone had to try and calm me down. Oh wow, Kerry did not break character once.
I was deep in spiritual work. I'm like in the middle of this, and all I can hear in the background is screaming and rustling and oh my god, and oh my god.
I thought they got cherries that night.
And then Kerry and Daddy come flying out of like the bush from behind us, in absolute like disarray. And there's me in the middle of this big spiritual work, and I was on the thinking, oh my god, if I stop now, I can't stop now. I'm in the middle of a ritual.
That's my guys. I was just hands on my knees, trying to catch my breath. My heart I needed to regulate my heartbeat again. And I wondered why, what did I ever do to that badger to make it want to hurt me so much? But it's fine. It literally ran over the top of my feet as well. I felt it ran across my feet.
The things we get up to in the woods in the middle of the night, everybody, it's an absolute joy to behold.
Running away from badgers.
Guys, have you got anything at this point? We got Magic 8 out of our system.
Yeah, well, I was dying to hear that story. Yeah,
it was one of the many funny occasions that we've had when we've been out investigating.
Yes.
Was that the first investigation you went on with Kerry Ann? Kerry?
No, that was a few in.
Okay. I bet you thought, what on earth? Why did I join this team?
To be fair, whenever we went on an investigation, it was like Kel said, it was just we had such high spirits. We were so excited by the paranormal field, being out in the field and getting investigations going and sourcing locations. And the team was at the time was really good. Other factors came in, which is why the team split. But, it was a really good, strong team. And unfortunately, external factors came in and sort of like ruined that, didn't they, Kerry, really? Yeah. but you can't help life sometimes, and
No, that's
and
right.
that's how, and things. I always believe things work out how they're supposed to go, and you go full circle a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So I think those days will come back because we always have fun. You know, whenever I was doing even spiritual work, would come around to my house or, you know, whatever, and do some spiritual work, and even that was fun. I mean, I remember one night Kerry came to mine, and we were trying to record a meditation. We didn't actually get it down, is all I can say, because we just can't do it
No.
seriously.
Kerry couldn't. The Capricorn in me is going, right, let's do this. This is the 10th time.
But the more strict she gets, the more funny. Me and Daisy were finding it. Daisy was always like the third sidekick of this little friendship. She was always involved in that, but the more strict she gets, the more controlling of the Capricorn that comes out. The strict, the seriousness of it all, and the silliness of the Sagittarian in me just came forward. It was just like how it was. We have had some incredible, memorable experiences, and I want to take you back to a pub that we used to go and investigate.
Dun, 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 dun.
We went back.
You went back?
Went back a year ago.
Did you?
Yeah, Echo, which is my team, Equilibrium Collective. We have 2 divisions, one's in Kent and one's in Essex, and we decided to do a group meet, and that was where I took them. We went to there, and it's under different people. It's completely refurbished. The barn that's outside that was derelict is now a guest room, which, I mean, we should go. Just say
we just have to have the guest room.
we just have the guest room. Just go stay there. And it's there's a proper family in there now, whereas before when we were there was like one lady who run the bar, and she'd only use one room of the house, and she had I think there was a lodger in there as well, and he only had one room, so there was lots of rooms in there just like really derelict and old. But I never forget. So the pub is in Ashford, and it's got really strong links again to World War One, World War Two. It was a bakery, it was a post office, it was a bar. It has changed hands all the time, and it's so old that when you go through the hallway upstairs, it's like one of those fun houses where the it goes up and then down and a Healy, and then like it's just really weird, really peculiar in it.
A bit like the house that Jack built.
Yeah, it's a lot like that. We had some really bless his soul, Jose. We had one experience where we had an American investigator. We had a team, and then we had another team that was in America, and we'd work together. But he passed away sadly. But on this particular investigation, we had a situation where we had someone sit next to where he was on a tablet. He was on a tablet, and someone sitting beside him, and both of them at the same time jumped up and said, "Get off my back." He's in America. He had no idea what was going on next to him. We had voices, we had women's voices crying out for help, and men telling us, "No, don't help her." Proper, like, I don't think we appreciated the types of audio and Class A captures we were getting, because without boasting, we were just used to it. We're just used to that level of communication when I think about it, because that we had some amazing captures in there.
Yeah, we didn't investigate it just once. We did several different, and every single time something would happen.
The worst one was when we'd gone up there for the day, and we'd been in there during the daytime, and then in the evening we was doing an investigation. And the worst room in the house, which was kind of back of the house to the back, to the front. When we opened the door, there was literally a layer of flies where you couldn't even see the carpets, the windowsills. bedding in one room only,
Mhm.
layers, like
Right.
blank flies. And we called the lady up and was like, what's this? And she said, you know what, I cleared this out 2 days ago. I don't know why it's like it again.
Proper Amityville moment, right
It
there.
really was. Yeah, they were all
Yeah.
dead. They were all dead. So we was like, after the investigation, we'll go more into the actual investigation in a minute, but
Yeah.
afterwards we actually did spend some time looking into the life cycle of flies, believe it or not, but to see how that would be possible. If she says that she cleared that room 2 days before, what is the life cycle of flies? Is it possible that they could breed maggot, go into flies and then die? But these are big blue bottles. They weren't like little
Yeah.
flies. These were big blue bottles.
No.
And it didn't smell as in like something was rotting or dead in there. It didn't have that kind of smell like a rat
Yeah.
or something in the walls or something that you think, well, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
It was just weird.
And we looked at the different possible. We looked at what could have caused. Like Kerry said, it wasn't just in one area of the room. The whole room,
Mm.
and there was boxes in there, and some and a wardrobe and a double bed, and the whole room was absolutely covered with big dead flies with no
Mhm.
space between them. And we
Were the
looked at
flies like going under the bed as well, or was it on top of the bed? Like someone had
we
just ripped the roof off and just chucked the flies in.
yeah, that's what it looked like.
Okay.
But I will say we did not venture because it would have meant we would have had to climb on top of the flyers and like
We
Yeah.
weren't going to do that.
we
Yeah.
we weren't sure what we were being faced. I mean, touch wood, if we ever found ourselves in that position again, we know to look further. But we were a year in, really new, trying to
Yeah.
figure out what was going on. Again, not really appreciating the magnitude of the case that we actually had, because this was a case. This wasn't an investigation. We created a case out of this, and there was a multitude of hauntings in that one building, and one of them was horrific. One we thought was a witch and a Knights Templar.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we thought that conversation was, with the woman asking us to help her and to let her go, and the man saying, no, go away, stop, leave her. We
Yeah.
also had what we felt was a monk or a person of the cloth of some kind that would be in that room that had the flies in. We had a army soldier and a man who had died at war been brought back. Um, and we had his name. We had communication with this officer, and then after we have got a conversation with this officer, this communication with an officer, we go into another part of the building, and there is framed a picture of a man described exactly, and he had his name.
Mm-hmm.
No one else had access to that part of the building until we got to that part. So, or so it was kind of like there was so much in there. And then we had the stable house, and then you leave the grounds and there is just fields and fields, and as far as we are aware, there was a quartz quarry not too far as well, wasn't there, Kerry?
Yeah, Mark Manley had done some research in the area, and it was a high quartz content in the area, and that's where sort of for me that was like a huge interest, because we talked about stone tape theory and all those sort of kind of concepts surrounding it, and water has never really been a thing for me. I've kind of always dismissed the water factor. I always think it's a combination of factors, and obviously being into the crystal side of things myself, the quartz side of it was very interesting to me. So this whole little area, we were getting so much every time we went. It was like so hard to like dissemble what was actually going on. But it was different every time you went as well. So like, black masses were seen coming out of the ceiling at one point of the night. Loads and loads of different phenomena on each different occasion. It was just crazy. This is a working pub. These people are living there. And it turned into a case because it was actually, we had seen a deterioration of the landlady
Yeah.
from the first time we sort of met her and done the first investigation there. And over a couple of times, because it had been so great, we kept going back. But we'd seen her deterioration and the lodger's deterioration as well.
Yeah.
I think he'd gone from like a casual user of marijuana to being on it all the time. So you're seeing a huge deterioration in the people that are living in this building.
Yeah.
And so we sort of was like, okay, do you want us to see what we can do? And she was like, not as in clear it, but try and find out what was going on, if anything. And so for us, we were just relishing the idea that we got this amazing location, and we were getting phenomena and trying to work out what was going on, but not actually putting any assumptions on that. We were going in as a paranormal investigation, like you would see, with your K2s and your ghost boxes and, you know, all the equipment we had at the time. But it even affected members of the team. Like one of the mediums that was working there was working incredibly. Echo Vox had only just been released, and he embraced that. He was almost obsessed with it, and we were getting amazing results through that Echo Vox when we were there. And he was going, "Yeah, but that's because I've done all this work." But he was using it all the time to the point where both, you know, not just myself and Kel, but other members of the team were saying, "This is obsessed. This is not a healthy thing for him." But this seemed to come from this particular location. There was a lot of other deteriorating stuff that was coming in at this time through varying sources, I would say, whilst we were going through this investigation period. So I look at that time now in a very different way to how it was, if that makes sense. I think there was something else going on there. It culminated in this one night. If do you want to talk to us about that night,
This is the one that pretty much traumatized you, wasn't it, Kerry?
Yeah. But let's hear it from Kerry.
It traumatized all of us, to be fair.
Yeah.
So we had this. I think just all I remember is seeing Kerry going, right, I'm going in there. And we're like, no. And that's when it all went wrong. But
Start from the beginning.
we decided that we were going to set up infrared camera so it faced the room that was in, so it was in the doorway, facing in towards us. We'd had CCTV run through the night, so we were finding things. It was really weird. Like we'd see orbs, but they would be rising from the carpet and going into the ceiling. Like it was like bubbles. It was really weird. We'd see the curtains move in there. We had toys in the fireplace because they'd actually found a children's shoe in the fireplace there, which they had put it on show. But we put children's toys that we left there, little army trucks and stuff. So we had lots of things going on in the room. And we had separate, because the hub was quite big, we was able to separate into groups of 2 throughout the building. We decided at this point we were all going to come together. There was 11 of us on this session, including Jose, who was on the tablet. So we were doing a K2, no, not K2, we were doing a spirit box session. So we were by the door, and the spirit boxes are further by the other end of the room because of obviously Jose on the tablet. We wanted to make sure there's no interference. So with the spirit boxes going, and all of a sudden we can hear this lady, you know, help, please help me. And Kerry's now talking. This now is between Kerry and whatever's going on. The rest of us are just giving energy. So one thing I'll say about this team, we were energy workers, so a lot of it was about us joining and creating one, and then being able to use that energy so that you know, if spirit was able to communicate, they could use that. So that's kind of how we work. So you were getting this going, and there's this man coming through saying, no, stop, go, leave her, stop, shut up. And we could feel what felt like a real tug of war going on. You could feel it in the room. And then all of a sudden, the room felt like the whole, like the heat, the warmth, the soul felt like it had been drawn together as a ball and then shoot out of the door. Now, every single one of us felt it and looked. And when I think back at it, we weren't prompted by one another. we were prompted by what happened. With that, Kerry's just gone, right, I'm going in there. And we're going, no, don't, because what actually happened is whatever was going on in that room, it had now left the main room, the front room, and gone into the fly room. Which we feel, when we looked back talking about it, we feel like that was the energy source. Whatever was in there was in that room. So we have it on voice recorder. There was only 2 people that went in that room, because everyone else was a bit more like, we ain't following, thank you very much. There was only 2 people that went in there. Kerry was in a position where, from my recollection of what happened, Kerry was stuck. Whatever was there had hold of her. She couldn't move. I remember her being very, like, it scared her. Whatever was going on, she had no control over her energy source. She had no control over her body. The person that was in the room with her was another medium, who had a bit more experience of working in terms of like paranormal and stuff like that, and opening and shutting and all this kind of stuff. At this point, this was years ago. So he's now saying, wherever you are, whoever you are, release her and come into me. And with that, whatever it was, shot from Kerry, hit him straight in the chest. He's gone flying backwards, taking Kerry with him, and his shirt was completely ripped open, and he had a gash from the base of his back to the top of his shoulder. And at that point, when we realized that he needed medical assistance, we come out of the room, we went downstairs, we see to his back, we made sure he was okay, and we left. We left.
We hightailed it out of there, folks.
That was us. And I don't think I could really, but I haven't really put it in words how high intense, how really scary, how out of depth we possibly could have been in that moment. And because of those combining factors, it made the situation so much worse for us to even comprehend all of it. That journey home, always going into investigations, coming back, we were always quite like lively. We were listening to show tunes if Kerry's got her way, or we're listening to rap if me and Daisy's got our way. So we're always singing, but that journey home, there was no music. We didn't talk to one another. We sat in silence and we just went home, and we saged. We saged so hard when we got home. We saged so hard. But yeah, it was an experience. Out of all the investigations I've done over the years, I think that will always be something that I would really like for me and Kerry to sit down and write about.
Was there any witchcraft involved in that?
In terms of witchcraft,
that, like, for example, the female spirit that you was talking about or talking to, was she ever accused of witchcraft?
we believed. So again, when we used to do workings, we never used to use one piece of equipment. If we had equipment going, we'd always have other sources. So we might have pendulum, dowsing rods, K2, things. In this particular instance, we had a medium, we had pendulum, we had spirit box. I don't know whether we had the K2 with us. I think that was over in the fireplace. But from that communication, we had a lady who we felt had been assigned a Knights Templar.
Right.
That's and from mine and Kerry's, or mainly Kerry's research, that usually was linked to keeping a witch in place.
Yeah, because I've experienced that myself. But obviously, it didn't go as far as you guys experienced. We was at the Rifle Museum in down near Portsmouth somewhere, and we was doing the experiment around a tree where someone was hung, but we weren't told that at the beginning. And it turned out that she was accused of witchcraft, and there was someone there in the gardens keeping an eye on her, making sure she wouldn't leave. Because we were saying, like, you know, if you're innocent, just go to the light and pass yourself over, sort of thing. And obviously there's a bit more to that, but I'm just giving you the gist of it. And then when we was talking about passing her over to the light, this other spirit moved in closer. And I think if I hadn't have closed it down when I did, I think the same sort of thing may have happened. Because at that point, I was a little bit out of my depth myself. So I thought, well, I've got some mediums inside, so I'd go and get them to handle the situation outside. Because obviously they know what they're doing, I'm not, and I can't see spirit myself. So he could have been standing right behind me and I wouldn't have known anything. But I passed that situation over to them and they dealt with it.
See, I had come across a similar situation before because we'd done, it wasn't an investigation, it was way before I was even in the paranormal. We'd been called in to a pub in Canewdon and the same situation had happened, but I wasn't investigating. I was there to do, I used to sell scopes, like the scopes, and they wanted to look behind a wall because the medium had said there's something behind this wall. So that's why we were there. And then that situation unfolded with the medium. So I was an observer of that. So I'd seen that kind of situation before with the witch and the man not letting the witch move over kind of scenario under that. But I do not believe that had influenced what was going on in this particular instance. One thing I would be interested, though, is now, Kerry, after all these years and all the knowledge that you've gained from that now, what do you think was going on there? Do you think it was paranormal?
I would. I can't. You can't take I can't take the believer out of me. I do feel like some things weren't, because obviously us in our susceptible state, there could be lots of things that are argued, but I know that there was lots of moments on those investigations where we were just so used to that environment that we were just observing and taking in, and that was real. In terms of what happened with you and I heard the voices, I heard what was happening. I didn't see what happened in the room, but for someone to hurt themselves, how can you go from both standing completely still, and he didn't just, trip over something. He fell backwards from standing.
I've listened to that, and you know what I think happened? I think something scared Kerry. She ducked behind the other medium on all fours, and then as he was pushed back, he fell over Kerry.
And then I flung myself on top of him just for good measure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's Kerry landed on top of him. Yeah. So because obviously he had hold of Kerry's arms.
Yeah.
No, he just had one hand on my shoulder.
Oh, okay. I thought he had your arms.
No, he had one hand on my shoulder, which is why we were saying he didn't pull me, because from the position we were in, there was no way he could have pulled me with that force.
Yeah.
I like my version better.
Yeah.
So obviously now you've had that experience and you've learned so much more since. Is there anything you would have done differently?
Oh yes, I would have recorded every single thing. I would have made sure that everyone had a voice recorder on them. Everyone had some kind of recording device with them. I think that we were very fortunate to be in a position to see some spectacular evidence, and we were so unwise to how uncommon that was, that we didn't take the time. I mean, even taking pictures of the flies in the room.
Yeah, we didn't do it.
Didn't do it. Wasn't even a thought to us. We didn't even think, oh, we need to take a picture of that. To us, it was like, what is this? Why is that there? And we walked away and we done research, even down to could it be, could was there things being grown in the building that maybe caused that, and was there things happening? What would happen if an animal would died under the floorboards? Would it be like that? We really looked into it. Like, we really fixated on it because it was paranormal. It was unexplained. There was no explanation that we can come across that would justify that level and that amount of saturation. So yeah, there's many parts of that I can look back and go, I can't explain how that happened or why that happened. But yeah, I would definitely have made sure that I had some recording devices with me. Because still to this day, when some of the old team gets together, we still look at some of the evidence there, and we're still divided. We don't agree on everything, you know. So we're still, so if we had more examples of what was happening, then, you know, it would have been able to see things from different perspectives and different angles and stuff like that. It
Yeah.
would have been a lot better for us to make a judgment call on some of the evidence that we got.
But
Because
that's it. I mean, in
go
a
on.
team, you don't need everyone to all agree all the time. If you
No.
all agreed, there'd be no other theories, and you wouldn't be moving forward.
Yeah.
No, but if we did all agree, some of the evidence that we pull, honestly.
Oh no, I've heard this. I've heard it recorded, and I've spoken to Kerry about it countless times, and I've been like,
Yeah.
"Oh, can you still get there? Let's go."
I know.
Yeah.
No, it's not to investigate.
Oh, no.
No, I mean, we did try. So when we went there, we kind of was just like, oh, I made myself over with me. I have a habit of making friends anywhere I go, and I over familiarize myself with the staff there, and you know, it was on first name basis, and I was like, take my number. I would love to be able to come up and investigate. In particular, I knew that there was a room in the building that had a fridge in that wasn't the kitchen. And I knew that if we went in there that we would have evidence. So I said, there's a room right there, isn't it? It's got a fridge in it. And he said, yeah. I was like, oh, if I knew I could get into that room. But I knew if we got in there, it would be, I could even tell you what the fridge looked like. I could see it vividly. And but yeah, I said, look, this is my card, this is my number. You know, we're a private team. We're not looking to do events. Just would really like to come back in and just have a look and see how much things have changed or not.
Yeah.
And yeah, they never got back to me. So, but like I said, the guest house is there, Kerry. So,
Oh.
So would you not approach it now? Now you've got your qualification behind you. Could you not use that to get in and maybe say, look, you know, we had an experience here a long time ago. I'm now a qualified psychologist. I want to come in and do a couple of experiments.
they were scared. Well, no,
To be
I
fair,
take that back. I take that back. They weren't scared. It's just like not in my home, which,
Yeah,
Right.
fair enough.
you know,
I
yeah,
say
Yeah.
it's a family there now.
it is a family. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Bit
yeah. Some of
off-putting. They've got this lovely pub, this lovely old pub that they've now renovated and living in. Then you've got this girl that turns up out of the blue and says, "Oh, we had a really weird experience in here.
Oh,
Can we
yeah.
come? Can we come and investigate it?" They're like, "Well, we don't think it's haunted. It's
they
fine."
they let us do the downstairs. We were able to go into, you know, the back room.
Oh
We
yeah.
were able to go there. We got some evidence there. We did get some evidence there, but we weren't able to go into the actual building itself.
Oh.
But we did, again, I mean, I've spoken to Andy Mercer about this, in terms of like turning up to locations with team hoodies on. He makes a very good point, especially when you've got massive pentacles on the back of them.
Yeah.
So we did kind of turn up in our kit and our hoodies and like, we're here, guys. So yeah, it wasn't, so we weren't welcomed with open arms, but at the same time they wasn't rude. They're very hospitable. They allowed us to do what we wanted in the back and stuff. And just, you know, we couldn't make a show of it, basically.
Yeah,
So
I think
Yeah.
just on the mere basis that you've got that scientific qualification, it
yeah.
it just goes to put you above all these other paranormal teams that are done up like Formula One drivers, you know, with advertising all over them and things. Yeah,
Yeah, there is that. There is that. I'll bear that in mind.
yeah.
She'll
I'll bear
turn
that.
up in her secretarial gear next time and her like, little glasses perched on her nose with a clipboard, eh?
I would. I'd be like, "Hello, I'm Doctor." Kind of.
Yeah, that's it. You know,
It's so.
That's
I'm
it.
sure they'd let you in
Dr.
anyway.
Kerry
Then,
Carter.
Yeah.
I have said that. That is my end goal. Is and once I do become doctor, which is going to happen, I'm just about to start my masters. That's all I'm going to answer to. So, you know, Dr. Mum, Dr. Kerry. Don't ever
you
refer to me as
just
anything else.
she just wants to be known as the Doctor.
The doctor, yeah.
The doctor of the paranormal.
I would.
Dr. Kerry Carter has entered
I'm
the
there.
building.
I'm
No,
there
Yeah.
with
it's just the Doctor.
yeah, that's it. The
Brilliant.
doctor. That's it. Yeah, like
Yeah,
Prince.
that's it.
Brilliant. So going forward now, you got your own team, Equilibrium, which do YouTube, TikToks, YouTubes. What do you do?
Oh, there's so much. So we've taken a little bit of a short break while we refigure ourselves. But at the moment, we went viral about 6 months ago. We was on Nuke Top 5, Smackdown, loads of channels. We got a bit of evidence that was sent through to us, which was really good. But yeah, so we are. So we want some secrets. We've got some big plans for the end of the year. We're just working towards them. We're working with one of our team members who is a script writer and does those theatre shows and stuff. And we're looking to do some work around the witch trials. So a lot of the stuff that we've done in the build up in the last, I'd say the last 6 months has been a lot around civil leak. We've been looking at the Pendle witch trials. We've been looking at the Witchfinder General. In fact, we're actually trying to get into one of the pubs he got his first victim from.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in the process of booking that, so we're looking to go there in a couple of weeks. And we have kind of just been looking at the women behind the stories. I think we get so lost on witches being murdered or executed, we forget that these are, women. I mean, one story in particular is absolutely horrific. Mary Luckland. She was one of 2 women that were burnt at the stake for witchcraft in the UK. And it was because, long story short, in the area that they lived in, it kind of was there was lots of things going on. Of course, it was the witchcraft that was doing it. It wasn't the Cold War or anything like that. It was witches. And women weren't allowed to go to church with their husbands, so they were being sent off to these communes, and they would hold Bible studies and stuff like that. And of course, they were saying there were covens. And at the time, I don't know why, but King Henry was getting a bit dubious of his wives for some reason. I have no idea why. So he made this law that if he believed, or if it was believed that a wife was planning to kill their husband, then they would either get boiled in a vat of oil or burnt at the stake. And what they done was they tried to accuse Mary. Well, they accused Mary Luckland of murdering her husband years before, because they didn't have enough evidence to prove that she was a witch. So she was one of 2 women that were burnt at the stake in the UK. So what we do is look at the women behind the stories, because we find that it gets lost, and it's it's I don't think sometimes we really grasp the magnitude of what actually it's like Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper and his victims. People focus on the fact that Jack the Ripper and what he did, and not really look at the women and the atrocities that were done to those women. And it's the same. Obviously, man, Andy Mercer does correct me. I go, the women is like, yeah, and men and children. I'm like, yes, them. So that's a lot of what we've been doing, and that's a lot of what we have done over the last. So we have a YouTube, Equilibrium Collective UK, and we are on TikTok, which is usually me. Our investigation at the nuclear bunker is over there as well, Paul.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
We did that, which we have a fantastic story, but we didn't record it.
So we haven't actually learned much.
Yeah, perhaps things haven't moved on.
Yeah.
I think Richard was there.
I was there, yeah.
Oh my God. On that note, everybody, we are going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to delve a little bit more into the fantastic Kerry Ann Carter.
Hello, Harry Price here. If there's nothing me and my friends enjoy more here on the other side, it is to sit back and relax and listen to the Paranormal Concept Show, right here on the PAUK Radio Network. Broadcasting a plethora of interesting and informative content for all your paranormal needs. Find them across social media to keep up to date with forthcoming shows and all their other adventures. Hello, is there anybody there?
Welcome back to the Paranormal Concept Show, exclusive to the Paranormal UK Radio Network. And we have still in the studio with us got the lovely Kerry Ann Carter, or Dr. Kerry Ann Carter, we're going to call her that now.
Yeah.
Doctor, don't
The
you
doctor.
know? Thank you.
Yeah, the doctor.
The doctor.
The doctor. Oh, I love that. I think I'm just gonna. That could be my wrestling name.
Can you just buy a title and just call yourself John without the work?
Yeah, like when you buy yourself a little square of land in Scotland, and all of a sudden you're a lard.
Exactly. Why not?
Yeah.
Laird.
Yeah, a liard. Sorry, a liard.
Laird.
Sorry. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I might do that. I might just Dr. Amato, who came up with Water Memory, bought his title. Everyone thinks he's
Wow.
like, he actually bought his title from a
Just
university in India.
Just
Anyway,
get your name changed by default to the Doctor.
Doctor.
yeah, why not? That sounds like a plan of action. So
Always action.
there's two very different camps. The pre psychology degree kind of Kerry Ann and the post investigative Kerry Ann. It's very, very different.
Yeah.
What bit of it do you like the most? Do you like the research side? Do you like the going out side? Do you like the observation side? What kind of side of the paranormal is it that really gets your juices flowing now?
I would say that I feel like I'm a little bit old on investigations. I think we have one late night and that's it. I'm in recovery for about 2 days. But I do love going out on investigations. I really love being in like the energy, and I love working, and I love going out. I liken it to fishing quite a lot because I find that it's something you either get a lot going on or you don't. But either way, you're with friends. So it's nice just spending time with people outside of your normal environment. But I do like the research, the studying side of things, so the psychology. I've been doing quite a bit of studying, actually writing. I'm actually writing at the moment, looking at the power of suggestion. I know it is an old bag that's been looked over a million times, but I feel like I have a different angle, which is quite interesting. I'm finding it quite interesting. We're using local folklore to be able to add kind of the meat to the bones and understanding the impact that has, as well as like what we should consider as paranormal researchers if we're looking at serious investigative like pieces, what we should consider. So yeah, the research side of things definitely at the moment, but I still love a good old paranormal jolly.
You can't knock a paranormal jolly, folks, is all I'm going to say. But it is a paranormal jolly. So what are your influences now? Do you watch any of the live streams that go out on the socials, or do you watch TV programs, or, what do you like to flood your brain with?
I don't. I think the most I love to do at the moment in terms of the paranormal is Nuke Top 5. Just because of the variation. Some of it's so obvious, and other bits you can sit there and think, well, actually, maybe. But in terms of what I am looking at, I've kind of steered away a little bit from paranormal shows. But there's always things that gets posted in terms of workings or thoughts, especially on the psychology or parapsychology groups I'm in. There's some interesting information on there that kind of shed light on things that maybe I wouldn't have considered before. But like I said, my focus at the moment is a lot about witchcraft and looking at the acts behind. So rather the people behind the acts, and how, again, looking at how that can influence a location, a haunting, superstition. Or even looking at how that can influence an investigator when they go out to research. What are they looking at? Why are they looking at it like that? What could be an influencer there? Are they manifesting their own, they manifesting their evidence? Or is it even them? I mean, back in the day, one of I had such a thing for him as well. Konstantin Karaktikov.
I wonder when Dr. K would come into the room.
He was I loved him. But a lot of what he did really fascinated me when he looked at how mass worship, this is what he primarily looked at, this is what I was interested in, how mass worship could affect the energy of a location. So it could be an outdoor location, it could be a temple, it could be, and how that can change the vibration, the energy vibration. So if you apply that to modern day investigating, if you've got, for example, this is one thing that I'm actually writing about, if you've got a location that has a really steep folklore, when you've got perpetuating collective false memory. When you've got that being manufactured over the years and continuously pushed onto a location, what is being influenced? Is the investigator influencing the evidence, or is the evidence influencing the investigator and what they're looking at? So this is what I'm arguing at the moment. Should we be considering superstition as part of our baseline sweeps when we go into locations, especially when we're going to places like, for example, Leon C with Sarah Moore? I mean, when you look at that, there is actually evidence of Sarah Moore existing, of a being there. We have the pub named after her. We have where she would have worked. We have, the Great Thames flood that happened 4 years after she died. We have a burial for her. We have, the children that were allegedly burnt. We have, death records for them that happened around the same time. We have a grave that you can actually go to that's not far from where she lived. So you have all these true factors, but then again, you have, like I said, the perpetuated superstition and the folklore about how she created the great Thames flood because a sailor didn't pass a palm with silver. And
Sounds
how
fair enough.
she used to buy. This woman was amazing, right? Because if this is she probably did do this. She literally sold men air. Like, what is wrong with you guys? Like, what? She sold them air. Like, air. We had that for free. Take a deep breath.
I can
Air.
imagine it's a bit similar to the ghost in a bottle.
Yeah, honestly.
You can buy ghosts in bottles off of.
Well, she did
website.
it. She had a horrific life. 3 husbands that have passed before her, multitude of children. Most of them died before they were even the age of 10. She lived to a ripe old age. She had to look after herself. She had a cleft lip, air palate. She had a hooked nose. She had a pointed up chin. She used to drag a wash bag around with her. So she had the opportunity to be able to go, yeah, I'm a witch. Yes, I'm a witch. Bearing in mind, she lived at the same time as James Cunningman Hurrell, which was considered the cunning man. She lived at the same kind of era as him, but she was feared. So the story goes that he didn't pay her a fair wind. So when he left, the storm happened. He struck the sail 3 times, and when they come to shore, she had like axe wounds at the back of her head. But when you actually look at when that happened to when she actually documented died, it happened 4 years after she passed away. But this is a story that gets perpetuated, and it's not by the likes of me or Kerry or Paul or Richard, who doesn't live in Leigh-on-Sea. It is the likes of those that live in Leigh-on-Sea that carry that folklore in. So you're in the location, that is happening, all these generational stories projected into this area, and it's only once we go in that we hear about it. So again, this is what we're looking at. What is influencing this evidence that's in front of us? Is it the area that's influencing us, or are we, when we go, oh, we're manifesting it, we're expecting it to happen, so that's why it's happening, we're projecting it? Well, what about, why is no one talking about this? This is mass century long projection of a story. If you look at stone tape, when we talk about when something happens so high impact, it leaves a recording. Well, how are we not talking about that as all of us intentionally putting this intention into one location? And how are we not talking about the effect of that? That's just happening in one place. We go, me, you, everyone, down the road. We all go to locations because we know, we have heard stories, it's haunted. Why do we know? Because the people in the area, they tell the stories, it gets spread around, and read about it. So how are we not talking about this? So this is kind of what I'm looking at, the psychology of it. Plus,
it's almost like an extension of the tulpa situation, where people, as you said, mass belief in one symbol or energy of sorts, and it gives it more power.
Well, even if you look at that, from my understanding, you have one person that creates everything that is not viable for them anymore. They focus it into an object, and it becomes outside of themselves. That's one being, one tulpa. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of people, one tulpa.
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about.
Well, that's the same. Same sort of thing. I mean, if everyone put their energy and in belief into one symbol, it gives that symbol power, and
Yeah.
that's why a lot of people say that there's power in words.
Konstantin Karatkov, he did the
Yeah.
research all for us. He's done this for us. But let's apply it to psychology. Let's apply it to the paranormal. Let's apply it to our research. Why is it not one of our baseline? Why is it not one of our fundamentals? We have a historian, or we have someone that's doing research, and they're looking into the area, and they're able to regurgitate the stories. But why are we not looking at where has these stories come from? Where is the facts behind it? Like I said with Sarah Moore, you can look into these. What is known outside of that area? What is known because of go into the local pub and ask them about the local stories. That's where you're going to get your baseline of what to expect from that location.
Yeah.
Because it's already there. It's there. We create a Phillips experiment, Scholes experiment. Like it's there. Like
Interesting ideas, yeah.
So now it's about not just looking at that, it's looking about all over. I mean, if you look, for example, how locations use this theory, how locations are able to take this manipulation and then apply it to their location, and then they're able to put together artifacts, they put together a scenario, and they create this ambience of for example, let's talk about the location that when you first walk through the door, there's a room completely decorated with every newspaper article, every poster, every evidence, photographs of team. You go in, you sit down, you get to watch the film in the house. Come on. Come on. How are we not? This is under our noses.
I've seen that a couple of times in a few locations.
It's under our noses, though. So it's like, this is a new fault. We have people with locations that are making the most out of it because they're taking and applying all this local history and these stories, and let's be real as well. If you was to take it in that particular location, we had from being a being to within, when you take it outside of the location and the area it's in, when you look at the media as well, and the media, when they start getting involved, they start applying names and identity. Where did Mr. Nobody come from? This is media did this, and now everyone's referring to this now because the media or so and so said it, and another person's going to say it, and another person's going to say it, and now we're creating a Philip now. We're creating a Philip. So it's really it's fascinating, but it's also really annoying. It's really annoying because it's like, come on, guys, what's going on? Why are we not doing this? Why are we not doing this? I know we talk about it, but we talk about it from an investigative perspective, an investigator's perspective. Like, what are you doing to make that happen? And I think we need to change the narrative. I think we need to look at it from a different perspective and go, how are we being influenced to manifest that evidence that's already been dictated to us that's going to happen? And is it that? How can we variate from that? How can we go beyond that? How can we push those boundaries now into what is really here? And that's what really people should be taught. This is the evolution of paranormal investigation. This is where we should be at now. But whether it happens,
but there's a lot of paranormal investigators out there that claim they're investigators, but they're actually most haunted wannabes.
Well, I think do you know what I will say? I think people start off with the best intentions. Who doesn't want to be able to do something for a living? That my dad, I love my dad, but he can be annoying. But he will always say to me, "Do something you love. Do something for work that you love, and you'll never work a day in your life." Everyone wants to be able to have a job that they love, and I'm not saying that they're right for what they're doing, because it's saturated. This is why I say I don't watch paranormal shows now. It's so saturated. But I think everyone starts with the same. I think they start with the genuine kind of, this is what we want to do, and then it becomes, first off, there's sort of like it's addictive. When me and Kerry first started, I think we was going out maybe 2-3 times a week if we could.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's addictive.
Yeah,
it is addictive when you're with your group of friends. I mean, how addictive is that in its own right? Do you know what I mean? Forget whatever setting you're in. You're with a group of people that you all have very similar interests. You're having a great time while you're doing it. You're going out to fantastic locations together. You're having a ball, right? And you're doing something you love. That in itself is addictive, regardless of what setting, whether that's going to the pub, whether that's, clubbing, whether that's going to the choir, whatever it be, or Comic-Con or any of those settings. If you've got that group of people, it's the same scenario. You put that put that in a paranormal setting. It's exactly the same.
And then throwing a dash of adrenaline.
A lot, there's your rush, your adrenaline rush.
The adrenaline, yeah. So you're having a good time, and you buy. I mean, yeah. Look at the ancient fear system. It says it's innate in us. It's something that's been primed in us since we were cavemen. The evolution was something that we've not got fear around the corner anymore. We're not walking around the corner and we might be eaten. We still need to prime that so we can apply it in different areas. So we all find different ways to get our adrenaline, and ghost hunting is that. It's adrenaline. So, and with your friend, it is addictive. So I think when people first start out, I don't feel like they start out to think, right, well, we're going to oversaturate the market. We're going to just put stuff out there for shock value. We're going to stick demon in the title. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes when I do TikTok, as long as there's something that's irrelevant to my video, I might put a grab line in there. There's a particular video that with one of my team members, and she's doing sensory deprivation, and it's an absolutely phenomenal piece of capture. The problem we have is it's not clear, but that's what makes it so good, because you can't see features on her. You cannot see. All you see is what looks to be like a mist in front of her face. The room's got natural red light that's coming from the floor. So again, you've got that when you do transfiguration, you go into the black tent, you've got the red light shining at your face. And she said, and she's got sensory deprivation, she's got the mask on, her headphones in, and she said, they're coming. And then someone says, who? And she says, the devil. And she can't hear what we're saying because she has a spirit box, full blast, in her ears. And on my grab line, I put the devil because this is what she says. So I think sometimes we can all be a little bit guilty of that, but I don't think they start off and going, right, we want to be most haunted. But I think that's how it ends up, badly.
But I have to say this as well. When you are going out and you've got this team environment and, all the things we've just spoken about, and you're capturing great experiences, we'll put them as experiences rather than evidence. Yeah. You want to share that. Look what we got. Oh my God, look, guys, what do you guys think? And you want to put that out there. You soon get a following. And then all of a sudden you've got this, well, hang on a minute, you're out there for fame and fortune. No, I'm out there for a good time doing something I love, learning and gaining knowledge, and we're getting stuff I can't explain. So either explain it to me or just enjoy it for what it is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is,
Everyone's too busy trying to push each other down when they just, that's the bit I don't like about the paranormal, is that ripping each other to shreds. If someone's got something and you can explain it, educate.
Yeah.
We've had this recently on our group, and it was to do with to do with the distinction of word. One was jinn and genie.
Yeah.
And somebody just put, I think you're a bit wrong there, mate.
Oh, really?
Well, why? Why is that wrong? Do you know what I mean? Because,
okay,
it was a genuine mistake. It was just a banged off, I didn't. Paul banged off a post and made a genuine error. But rather than say, just, there is a difference between jinn and genie, this bloke, I think you're a bit wrong there, mate. And it comes across very aggressive. It comes across very arrogant, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, to be fair, the post wasn't wrong. It was just
the post was wrong.
No, it
because
wasn't.
it was. You put gin and with a picture of a genie.
Yeah, but it was just a bit of fun and asking people what they wish for. Both of them offered wishes, so does it matter?
Well,
no. It did clearly to him, but one person out of a billion. I don't please everybody. I don't, I don't try to.
I don't want to split a hair, but gin doesn't actually grant you a wish. But there you go.
Does in the movies.
Not
You want to watch
gin.
Wishmaster?
Oh, all right. I haven't seen that film. Oh my God. Gets his information from films, everybody.
Oh, I love I love a good film reference.
Well, talk to Paul. He's full of them.
Yeah. You can do your own podcast together then.
Well, what Kerry says very much sings to my soul. Is things I've been talking about for the last God knows how long. Maybe not as eloquently, but that ethos is, in my opinion, so right. You have to look at the superstition surrounding the area to understand what you're dealing with. She's referenced a case there, the Black Monk of Pontefract. I researched that case endlessly.
Well, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I've been banging on about that for God knows how long. People don't care. They're still booking the place out with the Black Monk scenario rather than, look, this is the actual facts of it. You know what I mean? This is the historical researched facts. I did a show on it, for God's sakes, 2 hours long, outlining all the research that we did on that. And yet it doesn't filter. It doesn't seem to filter through.
It doesn't matter. This is what I'm saying. It's manipulation. It doesn't matter. I mean, you're always going to have people that want to believe. Well, it's confirmation bias, it's cognitive dissonance, it's every single one of those things. It doesn't matter whether you are there screaming someone in their face, this is not right. They are still going to go, no, she's wrong. That's right. This has happened, but this has happened, because they want people dismiss. I mean, look, for example, I'm going off on a whim, right? But bear with me. There's a reason, right? There was this big research study about global warming, and they were able to find this this demographic of people that were believers of global warming, and they sent them off to watch this video, and in this video there was no scientists, there was nothing, but they gave all the reasons why global warming didn't exist, and a large proportion of that group come out and believe that global warming doesn't exist. Now, I'm not saying whether it does or doesn't, but what I'm saying is people will take from what they want to, you know, match the want of the belief that they have. You know, so you can give people the information, but what we can do is look at how variables will impact an individual in their research, and how can we then stop that from happening. It doesn't have to be across the board, but it can be in the areas that we are most passionate about, and that's where the academia is, the academics. That's where we need to look at. That's what we need to, because you said about Lorraine and Ed Warren, and whatever you think about them, they were in a position where they're able to feed or trickle down information that was able to give people knowledge, so it's about being in a position to be able to offer knowledge for the people that want to see it. They don't, there's nothing you can do about that. But if they do, then all the better. But it's a journey, and it's an uphill struggle, because people want to go and look for the Black Monk. That's just an example. We've got one just around the corner. You've got Sarah Moore, and the impact that has in that area. We've got the 30 East Drive, and we've got, I mean, for example, as well, I mean, I've done a comparative study against 30 East Drive and the Enfield haunting, and the impact that certain variables had, and how it's I'll have to show it to you. I'll send it to you, Kerry, and have a look.
Yeah.
But there is so much. I will tell you, it's about 10,000 words.
I don't care.
So
you know me. I do love a study.
Yeah, I'll send it over to you. You have a look. But yeah, I think the grassroots of it is let's start having a conversation about how, we've spoken about it till the cows come home. Manifestation and projection, and telekinesis. Well, let's talk about the reverse. Let's talk about how that can have an effect on us, and locations with enough input will have that effect on people, because there is lots and lots and lots and lots of research already that states so. And then let's see how those kind of things are being applied to these bigger locations that are then influencing and then drawing people in. This is where it needs to be at.
Round of applause, everybody. Well done, Miss Carter. Absolutely phenomenal. Love it. Love it. Now you all understand why I love this girl, right?
It actually has fried my brain. I will be honest with you. Sometimes I look at the screen, I'm like, what? What's that word say there? That doesn't look like a real word.
Oh, well, I've had this conversation as well, haven't I? There's many of the academics out there, so just make it plain and easy for us to read. Big writing, please, for the ASAP and the SPR. We need bigger writing because, too tiny writing, can't read it. It's bad enough as it is. But no, it's, singing to my soul is all I can say on that. Right, let's bring it down a bit. Let's bring it down to a more normal level. Film influences.
Film. Okay.
You love a horror, don't you?
I do love them so much. Like, it's bad because then I go on Amazon Prime or I go onto Netflix and every single recommendation line is a horror film. It's so bad. But I do love them. And I tell you what my favourite ones are of all time. I say I don't watch paranormal shows and stuff. But if you go on Amazon Prime, they literally show anything. They literally show anything. There are some questionable films. And they're my favourite. I go for those, that you see like the sound mic and it's like so bad. And I'm like, this is it. Easy watching. That's it. But my most favourite film of all time is Dr. Sleep.
That is good. I do like that one.
Love Dr. Sleep. If you haven't seen it, Kerry, you should. There is a bit of there is a scene.
Me.
No, you will appreciate it. There is a scene in it where I have to fast forward because it is literally makes my soul cry. But other than that, it's really, 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 really well done. Really well done.
It is
fantastic. It is fantastic. But yeah, there is one scene. I'm sure, Paul, you know which one I'm talking about. That I have to fast forward. Yeah. But that is my favourite film of all time.
Well, Richard, I kind of think we won't be watching that one when you come over next.
a bit too scary.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be watching that one. I won't be sleeping for a week after that one.
Well, yeah.
That is so
should have
good.
told her that's not what it's about at all, and nice fluffy film.
Yeah, like a trick or treat. It's Halloween all year round.
Like Hocus Pocus, that's it.
Yeah, practical magic. Like practical magic.
Yeah, I like a bit of practical magic.
Yeah,
that one's
nice.
okay. I like that one.
It's like that one, but a little bit darker because they turn the lights off occasionally.
Yeah. It is so good though. It's a Stephen King's. It's an adaptation from.
Yeah.
Oh no! If it's a Stephen King, I'm definitely not watching it.
Yeah, it's an adaptation from The Shining.
Oh my lord! We did a show on Stephen King once, and I had to research the films, obviously, because I hadn't watched any of them.
I made her do that show.
Yeah, he made me, Cal. And so I was like watching a lot of interviews with Stephen King, and then I couldn't bring myself to watch the movie, so I just sort of like read a lot of synopsises.
Read the blurb.
Yeah, basically, and we did a show off the back of that, and I was like, oh my god. But there was some. He does bring interesting concepts, and I don't think you should exclude the film factor or series factor or whatever for inspiration. I've watched a film recently. It's a comedy. It wasn't supposed to be taken seriously, but it actually triggered something. It triggered like a light bulb in my brain that I've got to explore further. So what kind of films have done that for you, Kel?
I'll be honest with you. Makes me sound a bit like, but I tend to watch films to stop my brain from working. So I tend to just watch films that are easy for me to like process. But then I don't think much more of it. So I'm really sorry. That's a really bad question. A really bad answer. That's a really bad answer. Sorry. Because there's not much to come from that. But I think because I spend a lot of time reading and stuff like that when it comes to like films and stuff. I'm like, let's watch something really like brain don't engage. go gadget, no brain. And I'm okay.
Okay, now
Sorry.
let me. Okay, we'll rephrase that because you just said you like to read a lot. What's been on your latest read list?
Yeah, what's been on the book list?
Right. Well, I've been reading quite a lot of Hans Holzer. Have you heard of
Oh
him?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, Hans Holzer. I found him very fascinating. He was one of the first parapsychologists that I've come across that uses spiritual mediums. Actually worked with Sybil Leek, who is, oh my God, Kerry, Sybil Leek is an absolute goddess of a woman. If ever you need some like girl power, everything from tricking the Nazis by writing false astrology, like stars, tricking them into doing a strike, and they were able to be caught, to marching through a town that her ancestor was killed with her jack claw, and she marched through that town with her jack claw. Just honestly, but she was a spiritual. She did spiritual manifestation, like trance and stuff. So Hans Holzer does a lot of work on locations and hauntings. In particular, he was one of the ones that went in to do the Amityville horror, the Amityville house, before Lorraine and Ed Warren went in. So yeah, lots of his old books have been quite fascinating for me. But I do love the fact that he is a parapsychologist, but he uses mediums, because again, parapsychology literally is about debunking mediums, basically.
Yeah, it's true.
So I was like, oh yeah, I like you.
Like Dr. Chris French is all I'm going to say on that one.
Yeah, but it's fascinating. So yeah, so that's kind of what I've been reading at the moment, and yeah, a lot about the women that we're doing some work on as well. Bless them. I said bless them, it's very patronising, but yeah, some amazing stories. So yeah, that's it really.
Fascinating. Boys, anything?
Oh, I just trying to think. Hands. Yeah, I think he used to write some tunes, didn't he? I've got a book of his. It's just called Ghosts, I think, and it sort of lists, God knows,
Yeah.
the investigations he's done and stuff. It's the A to Z of well, it's American anyway, but nonetheless, it's still a good book to delve to sort of dip in and out of. It's not something you would read cover to cover, essentially, but no, he is good.
Yeah, and he did
I've
a
got
lot of
that book.
work too.
Oh,
Have
no.
you? That wasn't the one.
But it is more of a reference book, I would say, than the one
Yeah.
I've got. It isn't one of his others where you can read it sort of like from cover to cover. It is sort of like I'd say a reference book more than anything else.
Yeah,
They do the Hans
he's got.
Holzer files, don't they?
They
Do
did.
they?
I actually did. Yeah, I did an interview with Dave Schreider, who's an absolute amazing man. He's so lovely. He actually, well, no, he interviewed me and Kerry, sorry, me and Sarah over on his show, over in America, which was amazing. That was amazing. Honestly, how that even, well, that happened because I obviously was like, hi. So he actually did the show, his end, which was a bit more high end than what we do because it's his job. That's what he does. And then he gave us the recording, and we then released it on our channel as well. So, but
We're
Dave
high
Schreider,
end. What are you talking about, women?
huh?
We're high end.
No, I mean like we equilibrium, not we. I'm not part of this we collective. Equilibrium collective. We are. You're not as high end as So he actually interviewed it. So I am not doing a good job right now.
No, you're doing fine. You're doing fine.
It's
No, you're
late.
right. We're not as slick as the Americans. I will put that out there, okay, guys?
Yeah. He is very interesting, and the shows are quite good as well because again they actually use evidence that was recorded by Hans Holzer in their evidence as well. So you actually go back. I mean, we played some of the recordings that he did with Sybil Leek, and some of the recordings he actually used in the Amityville horror house as well. So you can find them. You can find them on like YouTube and stuff like that. Really interesting, fascinating man. Very good work. He had a great way. Well, my opinion, because obviously that's my kind of way of thinking. So yeah, love Hans Holzer. But yeah, but that shows. I think they've discontinued that show now. They've not. I think they're doing something else. They're very interesting.
Quite possibly. They usually do, don't they? They burn themselves out quite quick, so they seem to be. Anyway, so highlights. What have been some of your, not so much of, in general, over the board? We're talking. I'm expecting myself to be featured in this, of course.
I have a few. So
what have your highlights been so far?
I think from Stranger Than Fiction days, I think my favourite place that we've ever was the pub in Kent. They, and also the journeys. Unless I fell asleep, then Daisy wasn't happy. But that was hell. But on the way up there, we always had great fun. And then I'd say on our show days, Kerry, I think the best day for when we went into London for the day, and we had like a tour with Russell Stevens,
Russell Stephen Edwards, yeah.
There you go. Who gave us a tour of Jack the Ripper and the Whitechapel, and he actually had the shawl. I'm sure. I don't think he did actually. There was something in his pocket, and we were like, "Is that the shawl? Do you reckon that's the shawl? That can't be the shawl."
We never asked. Again, it was one of those.
He was probably just pleased to see you.
No, it looked like it was a piece of fabric. I don't believe it was the shawl. I think it's far too valuable. For him to carry it around in his pocket the way it was. It was probably just a scarf, everybody. But we came away, and we should have asked. It was one of those we should have said. We didn't. And then we got away from it and said, "Was that it? Was that it in his pocket?"
We had a really good day.
That sort of thing.
What's in your pocket? It was in his blazer pocket. He had a blazer.
Oh right.
Yeah, he was very, very prestige gentleman. He's so lovely, and he's an absolute gem as well. So kind. And he spent the whole day with us, and even protected us at one point because we got scared. We just had a strange person started talking to us, and we were like, "What is this? We're not from this area. We're not used to this." And he's like, "Come on, ladies, I've got you." It's like, "Oh, hero."
We're just like tottering after him.
And then we got to meet David Saunderson, and we went to the college in Kensington, and we went into the library. That's the first time I've ever seen Kerry as excited as that.
Library, yeah. Sounds about right.
Oh no! Oh, honestly, she sat down in that smoker's chair, and I don't know what happened to her body, but she let out a moan. Is that okay?
It's a true story, actually. I was a little bit the same when we went to the SPR library. I walked into the SPR library, and I'm like, I'm literally going to have an orgasm right now.
She looked me in the eye, and that's what she did. And then and then we met the author of the Curious Case of Rosalind, which again really kind of opened our eyes to Harry Price and stuff. That was really interesting. So that was a really good day. That I feel like we peaked on that day. I feel like we peaked because that was the best day ever. And then in recent, I've been really fortunate to collab with some teams, which have been really, really good. We've been quite fortunate to go to locations that are like non-disclosed locations, which is amazing. And I've got to work with some really fascinating people over the last year or so, especially with some of the research that I've done. So I say things the types of highlights that I had compared to the beginning, pre-degree, has changed with Equilibrium, with Echo. It's changed quite a lot. And I'm really excited, really excited to try and have something put together by the end of the year. But it's pie in the sky, so I don't like saying too much about it, but we've got some good connections, and we're hoping that we're going to start making a way forward with it. But I love the paranormal. I do love psychology. I love the paranormal. They're both my friends.
What bit do you hate?
Right. I'll tell you what I hate. Right, I'm gonna be quite honest with you. Tech. Bloody hate tech. Why do batteries have to leak? The equipment's like £100, and then the battery leaks, and then I've got to get Laura to fix it with tinfoil or something. It's so it's so annoying.
So it's quite high tech then, yeah.
Oh, well, it started
Get
off
the
high
tin
tech.
foil out.
And it was like, can we just like, and she's like, oh, it's okay, give it here, I'll fix it, you know. But yeah, it's like the tech side of things. I'm like, oh, let me be in the energy and let me see what I can pick up. And then I'm like, oh, I didn't take the batteries out. So yeah, that's the one thing I don't like. But to be fair, there's not much. I love meeting new people. I love going new places. I love talking about ideas. I love collabing. I love all of the social side of things about the paranormal. I don't like sometimes that it can be a bit unkind, but then that's just me as a person. But other than that, yeah, it's just the tech. I love the journeys. I'm like a Labrador. I love going on car journeys. Oh, it's the one.
You know,
So
she's
there's
like
not
a
much.
direct opposite to me. I don't like going out. I don't like meeting new people. You know what I mean? She drags me down these roads where I would never normally go.
You love it. Look at all the things you've done. It's all
Yeah,
good.
there's a few, which is
Well, it's a joy.
fantastic because I never would have done it on my own.
I still think the best thing Kerry Ann's ever done is the Great Paranormal Debate.
That was the best show in the world.
It was.
We
It was.
talked about-
It was
I was
amazing.
It was, and it's like when Richard was like, "Oh, you two should do a film. You do, you know, a podcast about films." I'm like, "Oh,
We have.
little does he know." Well, what's he?
Richard knows nothing.
No, he doesn't. I used to love that show. We always find really interesting articles. My most favourite one was when we found the one about the guy from Goldie Lookie Chains who had taken pictures of fairies, and it was like back of that, like what was the guy's name that had done it all them years ago with the girls that faked the
Cotty
Oh,
was,
was it
wasn't
Arthur
it?
Conan Doyle.
Oh,
yeah. So and then it was like this must have been easily about 10 years ago. No, it must be less than that, about 5-6 years ago. And the guy from Looking Chains had taken pictures of fairies, and we were like, "This is amazing! What is this in the sun?"
In the sun
Fairies.
of things, yeah.
If you want to, I would just like to put it out there. If you would like to go back and listen to the Great Paranormal Debate, they are still available. They're over on YouTube. They're on the Parasearch Radio Archive YouTube channel or the Paranormal Concept channel because there's a bit of a crossover between the two. They are out there still if you want to go.
Yeah, they are out there somewhere in cyberspace.
Yeah, they are still out there.
I think Richard's homework is to go and listen to them.
I used to listen to them.
Did you?
He was always there in the chat room, guys.
That's true. That's true. That is
Yeah.
true.
I used to own the station and it was on.
Exactly.
Oh no!
Oh, dearie
How
me.
they forget, Richard? How they
They
forget?
do.
Oh,
They
no,
do.
hang on a minute. Richard was the one that
it's
suggested that
all
I do a
about them.
podcast. Hang on a minute.
Violation, Paul. What did we just do? Sorry. Humble beginnings and all that.
Yeah, beginnings, yeah.
Back in the old days.
That was the best time though. That show was awesome.
That was a really good show. I used to love that show. We used to have so much fun. It's so much fun. In fact, that should be everyone's homework. Everyone who's listening, your homework is.
Gosh, sounds like a school mom.
Oh, yeah, I'm the bossy. We know this anyway.
Hence why I end up doing things that I would never normally do, is because she says you're doing them, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Had so much fun. It was good. Yeah, it was good. We had fun.
Done so much over the years.
Yeah, it does. It feels like a lifetime, but at the same time, it feels like simultaneously happening. So it doesn't feel like far away, but when you think about it, it seems like a lifetime ago.
It's a long time in the old scenario, isn't it? When you think about it, there's been a lot that we've done.
I just remember you in your boots.
I love my boots.
your knee highs. We gave you a name. What was your nickname? Nickname. What did we call you?
Oh dear. Anyway, it's come to the end of the show.
That went quick.
Yeah.
So we haven't actually come to the end of the show, but I don't want to go down this avenue. Is where I'm going with that.
We'll find out for next week, everybody.
Oh, we had fun though. We had so much fun. We enjoyed ourselves, and we never took ourselves seriously. I think that was the most important thing about that team, is that we all didn't take ourselves. Well, 95% of us didn't take ourselves that seriously. So we was able to have so much fun as well. We were able to have so much fun.
We certainly did. Think of one last occasion to regale us with of these fun occasions that we had. Can you think of another one that we did? I'm thinking Pluckley.
You're gonna have to tell me.
The glow
Yeah.
band.
Glow bands.
Do you not remember that night?
When we got lost and we were dropping glow bands. I remember that.
To not get lost, we actually took glow bands with us, and we're walking through Pluckley, and in a line, and then we were being shadowed by this group of teenagers.
Yeah, that's ingenious though.
It was. I just had pictures of them moving the glow bands behind us, but they didn't, bless them. And then we found a swing, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
Do you remember the swing?
Yeah, I do.
That was weird.
Do you remember? Yeah, there's been a few things that we found in the woods that's been really peculiar. I've never been able to find it since, but that random church in Pluckley Woods, that random just church in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
I've never been able to find that again.
It's amazing because, like, Daisy has carried this on. I would like to say this because she went to a different woods. I can't remember which wood it is now, and she found like a gate in the middle of the woods, just a random gate.
Nuts,
Yeah, I
isn't it?
remember you saying that.
Like a weird random gate. So we had to go looking for this random gate again. And I was like, well, did you walk through the gate? She was like, oh, no, I walked around it. I walked through the gate. What's the difference between walking through the gate and around the gate? I don't get it.
Might come out a changeling or something. You don't know. One very smart lady said to me, "You don't f with the fae."
It's very true.
Smart lady was you.
You don't. Honestly, people go on, they think Tinkerbell. When you say the fae, everyone goes, oh,
Well.
Tinkerbell. It's nothing like that.
No,
And
it's not.
can't stress that enough. And when you're in the woods, that's actually their territory. So you have to be careful. Right. So we're in Pluckley and we've all gone out. Again, another impromptu. Let's just do another wood in the middle of the night because we do love a wood in the middle of the night. And
We did.
and we always seem to have strange occurrences in the middle of the night in woods. And so we're leaving these glow bands and we get shadowed by this group of teenagers. Well, we come across this swing. So somebody's obviously got to get on the swing, right? So we're all stood in a circle around this girl on the swing and it starts to twist, doesn't it?
Yeah.
She's swinging. She's just swinging normally and then it twists and it twists really tight. Now, she's not twisting it. She was just swinging on it like normal. But it twisted, didn't it? Really tight.
Yeah.
And then it untwisted. It was really strange. I mean, there's probably a logical explanation for that.
But at the time, and this is what I'm saying, like back in when things were so much more simpler, we found the magic in things. We found the awe in things, we were able to be in that moment and be immersed by it and experience it rather than trying to logic or make it, being practical and stuff. We were able to just be in it. And I think that gets lost a lot now, especially nowadays when you've got so many people watching, so many cameras on you. Like you can't just be lost in that moment. And we had a lot of that in our early years. We was able just to be able to experience it. And that's just if you think about some of the stories we've spoken about tonight, Paul, would you say you've got as many as those? Would you say you've had similar experiences?
Yeah, well, just about as much the same as you, really. I mean, we've had loads of experiences over the years. Too
But
many
there
to
was
mention.
there's no at the time there was no pressure to do live streaming,
No.
produce evidence, write reports. There was none of that pressure. We knew that that's what the basis of an investigation was. That's what you should have done, but there was no pressure on you to do that because we were just going out for the experience, and we had a great time doing it, and we got experiences. Can't really back any of it up. You just got our anecdotal tales to come out of that. But kind of that's the best thing, right?
Yeah.
When you look back and, all right, so your witness statement of that night, we might not be 100% accurate on detail because it's recollection, because that's what the brain does. It fills in gaps that you can't necessarily remember. But, we know that bit. But we will sit here, and you've listened to this show, guys. We have cried with laughter through this show over listening to some of those stories. But coupled with that, you've had some really fascinating insight into further research and avenues that we go down as our journey has gone on. Not just, Kerry Ann's talked about that side from her, but you've heard that over the time from all of us at various times of avenues that we've gone down. But amongst all that, you've got these anecdotal experiences of where we've been out. And that is just what it's about for me. That's the paranormal in a nutshell. Your personal research and progression of knowledge, but don't lose that magic, that being present in the moment. Don't worry about the live stream. When we go out, we might do a quick 5 minutes, show you where we are, what we're doing, maybe talk a little bit, like Kerry said, about the folklore and tales of the area. But you won't see us do a natural investigation or experiment on camera, because when we do those things, we're doing it for what we started off in the field for, without that pressure of that audience factor. And that's what keeps it alive it keeps it alive for me. It definitely sounds like it keeps it alive for Kerry. Richard and Paul, I can't really talk for you two, but I assume it's the same.
Well,
Absolutely.
Of course it is.
So where next on your investigation list, where have you got planned?
Oh, I'm going. The plan is to be following the tracks of the Witchfinder General. That's the plan. But then we have got some other little places that are kind of along the way. A lot of it is still pie in the sky, so we're still like putting the fundamentals together. But we are looking to do a little bit more traveling. Like I said, we've done some collabs this year, and we would like to go and visit some of these. So we're looking at Scotland and stuff like that. But as of yet, nothing is confirmed, which is annoying because I don't like. I like stability. I like to know. I like to plan the fun out of everything. It brings me so much joy. But these things, Capricorns. Hey, Paul.
Absolutely, totally agree.
Why do I surround myself with Capricorn people? I
Because
don't understand
we're amazing
it.
people.
Well, you are
They
amazing
are.
people, but
we have
The ones that are, the Capricorns that are really special though are the ones that were born in the year of the dragon.
well, we will agree to disagree, but that's okay because we're allowed to have different opinions. That's what makes the world goes around. But yeah, there's that. But so lots and lots of planning, and also I'm looking to venture out a little bit more to experience things. So it's not just about investigations this year, it's about going to locations just to experience the energy or what is happening there. So but I'm going to be documenting all of it, and trying to uncover. It's just little journey. I hope that I have time for. That's the thing. It's getting time for it.
it's a bit of a watch this space, lots more to come kind of scenario.
I hope there is lots more to come. I have ideas, and you know what I'm like with ideas. They don't stay ideas for very long. But this is the longest I've ever sat on an idea, so it's now giving me itchy feet.
I look forward to seeing what you produce. Can't wait for that, guys. Can you?
No, absolutely not.
Watch this space.
And hopefully our paths cross again.
Oh, they shall, Paul. That didn't mean to sound like a threat. Oh yes, they will.
Are we ready?
That was so. Sorry, I didn't mean to sound menacing. Apologies.
You're a big pussycat, really.
I am. Don't put me in the dark, because that's my kryptonite.
Yeah, especially if you've got badgers.
Badgers. Oh, see, listen, the world is a scary place. Ghosts are the least of my. The best ever. I don't know how much time we've got left, but I've got to tell you the story. The best ever place I ever went to in my life, and it really kind of put things in perspective for me. Is I was part of a group that was investigating London tombs, and I was taken around a group before we set up. We had to have a walk around with some of the guides. And I don't know, has everyone been to London tombs?
I've been there, but not as a.
Okay.
Is that the same as the London dungeons?
No.
No? Different place?
Tombs.
So basically, London tombs they've only found that recently, or like within the last 20 years or so. And they found a tomb underneath London. And what they did was they took all the bones that were in it and then buried them into a graveyard on Canvey. So this tomb, over the new graveyard at Canvey. Yeah, they buried them over there. But we went in, and as you go down into London tombs, it almost like takes you go down into it, and then there's like a snake kind of queue. So you go along one wall, go across the side, and then come round the other side. And it's not very wide. It's just enough for 2 queues and then a gap in between. And anyway, so they've taken us down in groups of just showing us the locations and show where the rooms are, so we've got an idea when we take people down later on. And as we're going down and we're going to this queue area, there is a chainsaw on the floor. So I was like, oh, what is this? It says, you have a chainsaw on the floor. Why would you need a chainsaw? Why is there a chainsaw on the floor? Well, they say when we are open to guests during the day, what we do is we have actors come in, and there's a particular actor that is dressed up in a like a boiler suit with a chainsaw. And I was like, F that. And they went, how does that scare you? You're here looking for ghosts. I'm like, the ghost cannot cut me up. That's it. The ghost cannot cut me. That can cut me. So I have learned that when we go ghost hunting, everything else scares me except for the ghosts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The dark.
I actually know two of the actors that work there. Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Imagine an actual chainsaw. Why? Where is that necessary? Don't you think that's a bit excessive? Someone's showing off.
Oh, believe me, there's so much more excessive stuff out there. I found an events company that does like the ultimate horror movie experience for you. And you go camping in the middle of the woods, and then at stupid o'clock in the morning, someone will slash through the tent, drag you out, and do all sorts to you. Yeah, weird.
It's a no from me. That's
a big fat no from me as well. We'll leave that one for Mr. Rook.
No, I don't want it either.
On that note, we have actually come to the end of the show, guys.
That's quick.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
One last shout out, Kerry Ann. Where can people find your work? Where can they go and view what you put out there?
So we're on Instagram, Echo. So it's eq.co.uk. We've got the same handle on TikTok, at eq.co.uk. Sorry. And then we over Equilibrium Collective UK over at YouTube and on Facebook.
Beautiful, guys. Go check out Kerry Ann's work, Kerry Ann and her team's work, should I say? Because they are definitely a team to keep your eye on for relevant, pushing the paranormal forward kind of research, as well as some really, really good fun. On that note, boys, is there anything else to report?
No, I think the website's all up to date, so go and visit that, www.paranormalconcept.com. There's blogs and all sorts on there, all our past shows. Go check them out.
Kerry Ann, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
No, thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
No, thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you, Richard and Paul. Thank you.
Okay,
no problem. It's good to catch up.
Definitely. Thank you, guys.
On that note, say good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
Good night, guys.